Yes. So, welcome everybody to yet another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today we are accompanied by Art Eddy. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Co-founder of Life of Dad. I was checking it out. 2.6 million followers on Facebook. That's insane, brother. Insane. Congratulations on that for sure. So, let's get off right with that, and then we'll dive in a little bit more about who you are and your family setup and stuff like that. Share with us, man. How did that come about? Life of Dad. What were you ever thinking like that's where we want to go? Like that big, we want to grow.
I think also too, well, thanks for having me on the show. Big fan, and I'm glad that I was able to be on the show, so I appreciate that. Yeah, Life of Dad started. We always say like it started in the hospital room. Our one of our co-founders are kind of like the Godfather co-founder, Tom Riles, right? His daughter was born with a congenital heart defect, and so he started this page up, Life of Dad, to let his side of the family know, his wife Lucy's side of the family know what's going on. She's good now. She's 9 years old. Life of Dad is considered 9 years old as well, and then he brought along me and some other guys, Patrick Quinn, Dan Lazars, Ryan Hamilton, David Guest, and me. We always joke it's like Voltron. We kind of formed Voltron, and we started this whole Life of Dad thing, right? And so, yeah, I mean, as well as I do, man. When you asked me about like, all right, do you think it was gonna, where it was gonna go, where we thought out in the beginning? No, it's just like fatherhood. Like you think like you have this idea of like, all right, fatherhood's gonna be like this. Then it takes you in this great, windy, crazy path. And you just embrace the ride, enjoy the ride, and you kind of go from there. But I think now more than ever, people are understanding that, yes, just as there are moms, there are dads. There are dads who want to be be there for their kids, be starting a movement about fatherhood. So we have some fun stuff. We have some memes, we have some videos, but then we also tackle some tough stuff too. We want to make sure that dads are getting equal voice too. And I think not only do dads respect that, but moms respect that too. And people just in general, it's like, when I first became a stay-at-home dad, I remember everybody being like, oh, it's so nice. You're letting your wife hang out and have some free time. I'm like, no, I'm a stay-at-home dad. This is it. Right. So I think now more than ever, people are understanding, yes, there are two parents in this equation. So it's been a blast. And I think one of the biggest things that we've strived for is creating this community of fatherhood and making sure that all dads from all walks of life are there being represented, and everyone's got a voice. So just like your show, man, Become a Fearless Father, it's like we just want to entertain everybody, but also educate them that dads are real people. They're not just like, blurry images like Bigfoot in the woods. We're there.
Exactly. And for the people, let me show this real quick. I put this in the comment section, people. So if you want, you can check it out right now. You can just click on it in the comment section and go to the website. Check it out. I will show it again later on, but just for the people that are here. And don't forget, show us some love, put them some hearts, right? Share this message for everybody. It's going to be very interesting. We got about 40 minutes with Art. And, well, let's see where we go. Just like you mentioned before, like we had no idea what Life of Dad was going. Dude, I have no idea what his live interview is going yet, so let's see where it goes. But, man, that's absolutely fantastic. And the more I get into this, the more I'm having conversations with other dads, the more I'm having conversation with guys like you, right? Because Life of Dad is not the only one. There's tons and tons of father groups out there. It's necessary, man. And I see so many dads that, like horror stories, right? That were on the brink of committing suicide, for example, right? And then thanks to a group like our page or contact with guys like you, they ended up not doing it, and now they're thriving, right? Those stories, man, I love those stories. I can't get enough of them, and that's why what you guys are doing is so important, right? So
yeah,
we'll dive into that a little bit deeper, man. But before we dive into it even more, Art, share with us, man, what's your background story and what's your family setup, so people can get a clear idea of how big is your family and how crazy is your life as a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, so for me, it's me and my wife, and then I have two daughters, ages 9 and 11. When my youngest was born, I became a stay-at-home dad. I got out of my job in radio and just became a stay-at-home dad. as things kind of grew into writing here, writing there for different sites, Tom brought me in, and then we started, I started doing like writing for the different sites, to doing a lot of podcasts. So I'm the one that's kind of like on the creative side, and Patrick Quinn and I, we do a lot of creative stuff together back in the day. And so that's kind of how it formulated. And I felt like as I was writing for Life of Dad, now as I was becoming part of this group, it made me become a better father. And so as my daughters were growing, and like, every age, every milestone, certain things, I could relate to other dads out there and what I've asked them, what experiences they had. As I always use other dads out there, I'm like, all right, my daughters are going to be turning 5. What should I be looking out for? Or, bring on dads who are now getting ready for, to give their kids an iPhone or a smartphone, or getting ready to get their kids ready to drive. So there's a lot of things that I'm picking the brains of a lot of dads who've been there. And I think people are doing the same for me. People are doing the same for you. So it's just like a resource. It's like a big library about fatherhood where you can kind of educate yourself on. But so my daughters are ages 9, 11, and they're in middle school and elementary school. And the craziness is just like helping them out with their homework, or trying to, like, with all these different like new they're learning. My wife and I scratch our head and we're like, wait, hold on. So we quickly like Google on our phone, like, how do you do this new math? What's going on, right?
Brilliant.
That's like the biggest thing right now that we're kind of stressing out about, which is like, in hindsight, or if you're looking from a different view, like a third party view, you're probably like, all right, it's not the biggest thing, but like just most things is up and down in parenting. There's going to be some good days, going to be some bad days. So hey, what's up? thanks for the message. But yeah, I think like for me right now, the idea of it takes a village, right, to raise a child. I think that's what Life of Dad does. That's what you do. I've become a fearless father, and other groups that we've had. But kind of getting back to me. So yeah, daughters 11 and 9. We're getting ready for Halloween. We're trying to make sure we got the right costumes and all that stuff. And it's always funny. Like I put something up there on Twitter earlier today. It's like, I don't know about you, man, but like my kids throughout the year, like, come January, I want to be so-and-so for Halloween. I want to be this person for Halloween. And then like, I want to like create brackets to see which one makes it to like the final 4 almost. Right. And so, that's like, I mean, it's again, small potatoes, but that's what we're working on. Like my youngest, we got her like a skeleton costume. I'm going to be Sub-Zero. And my oldest, I'm trying to get like a Carmen Sandiego costume. So that right now is what we're working on as a family.
That's awesome, man. That's absolutely fantastic. The thing is, unfortunately, here in Europe, Halloween is not a big thing at all. Okay. And where we live, we all have apartments, so there's no hardly any Halloween spirit. Like just a month ago, I ran into a couple of parents, and they were like, "Oh, Halloween's coming! It's gonna be amazing." I'm like, okay. We used to live in a smaller village with all houses, and we actually, with the kids, we dressed them up and walked around. That was so cool. But here it's just impossible. So man, I understand lots of fun, man. So I can definitely understand that. You said you're married, right? How long have you been married for?
Let's see. In next Tuesday, it'll be 15 years.
Oh, nice. It'll be 15. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. We dive into that as well. Where to start, man? I got so many things to talk about. Let's start about something just out of the box, really crazy. We got introduced thanks to Brandon Handley, founder of Fatherhood for the Rest of Us, amazing guy. And I told him, he said, "You're ready for a live interview?" I said, "I'm always ready for a live interview. I don't plan them anymore. I just go, and I get such amazing guys on that." I'm not worried anymore, like I'm going to run out of materials, right? And Brandon already bragged about you, so I was like, this is going to be fantastic. And then he slipped in like, dude, Star Wars, major Star Wars fan. So, all right, let's talk about that, man, because we see all the stuff behind you, right? Exactly. It's loaded. I got the movies, but that's about it. And my sons, they liked it for a second, and now they're like, man, no thank you. They're 3 and 6, so maybe I get them on there later on the show. But I'm wondering, man, is that just your thing, or because it's your thing now also the whole family loves it and you go to the movies? How does that share about that, man?
Yeah, man, great question. I think Star Wars has just been a huge part of my life, and it's funny. Like recording, we were talking about, like, I just got back from Disney. I was doing a Lion King media event, and they gave us some free time. So of course I hightailed it to the Galaxy's Edge and checked out the new Millennium Falcon ride and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I was just like, I was in heaven. But for me, as an early age, I remember, you have certain memories as a child, right? And one of them was when I was sick. My mom, from school, and I'd stay home from school. We go to the library. We would rent. This is how old I am. I'm 40 years old. We go to the library, rent on VHS, Empire Strikes Back. That was my movie. Have like some SpaghettiOs or chicken noodle soup, some crackers, and just watch, Empire Strikes Back. And I remember one birthday, I got the trilogy, the original trilogy, before George Lucas like changed it all out on VHS. I still have it, of course, right? Of course, awesome. I would have it with all the stuff. So I have it, and I have a VHS player in case people are like, how are you going to play it? No, I have a VHS player. So I took that from my parents as well. But I just fell in love with Empire Strikes Back. And then, of course, Return of the Jedi and, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, all those guys, man. Just it touched my childhood, and it just kind of came with me. And then, like, when Phantom Menace came out, I remember studying for finals, waiting in line to get tickets for Phantom Menace. And then, fast forward when I had kids, I think I waited till when my oldest was 5, and my youngest was 3. I was like, all right, we're just going to watch the first one, see if they like it. And of course, I'm taking pictures of them behind watching this scroll up. I'm like, this is awesome. It's like, did they like it? And I think the fact that they had Princess Leia in there, because they were in the princess phase, like Frozen and, Merida, Rapunzel. So they understood the idea of princesses, and they're like, she's a princess? We're like, yeah. And then obviously when fast forward a little bit, a few years later, when Disney bought it, then she's a real princess through Disney, right? So, but no, my wife, she grew up in a Star Wars family as well. So she has a love for it. My kids, a few years back, I was a stormtrooper. I don't know if you can see this over. Am I going to do it the right way? I don't even want to mess up the camera, but there is a live storm, like an actual trooper. And that's the costume I had for Halloween. And my oldest was Rey. So it was a pretty cool, like, father daughter Halloween combination to go and go trick-or-treating for. But they got into the movies. They love the new ones too. They like Solo, they like Rogue One, all those movies. So it's not just me. They have like little Funko Pops just like I do with certain characters. So it's a family thing. We all love Star Wars, man.
That's amazing. We're still trying to find what it is that as a whole family we like. We like amusement parks. That's so far is a good thing, but then kind of like, who doesn't, right?
But I think like what you said, that you just kind of find your thing. Like, if let's say like my after watching the first one, they were like, and by the way, I let them watch A New Hope, like episode 4, like the original Star Wars. Everyone's got their own like parenting method. Like, which way do you introduce your kids to? It's like, whatever, do whatever you want to do. But like, the theme parks or amusement parks, I think the biggest thing for me, even being like a sports fan, a geek, I'm not going to push my pastimes on my kids. I'll let them see what it's about. And then I know my oldest got us into Harry Potter. Like, she started reading the books. We went to Universal last year or 2 years ago, and we loved checking out Universal and seeing the whole Harry Potter thing. I think as your kids get a little bit older, because you said 6 and 3, right?
Yeah.
So as they get a little bit older, they're going to find their own path, and you're going to see like like they'll like what you like, and then they're going to introduce you to something else. And I think for dads listening out there, parents listening out there, that's a great way. Like, find something and you guys have in common, or follow their passion as well. Don't push them in a certain field. Let them pick out something and see what it's all about. You start doing that, you'll have endless hours of communication and talking and conversations. And as you get older, instead of them like pushing you aside, they'll still be hanging out with you and being like talking about certain things. Yeah, there are gonna be times they're gonna, you're gonna embarrass them. I get that, but my oldest, like, I was wondering when she went to middle school, does she not want anything to do with me? No, like, she wants me to meet her at the bus stop halfway and all that. So I think what you're doing, man, just like the amusement parks can probably, lead into something else. And it's this, man, fatherhood is such a treat. It's just an awesome, experience. And I don't think you and I, when we were, in college or high school, it's like, man, I can't wait to be a father. I can't wait. Like, it happened a little bit. Like some guys I've interviewed on podcasts and had on shows, they said like, I knew I wanted to be a dad at this age because either like I had a great dad or I didn't have a father figure and I wanted to be there for my kids. So everybody's journey into fatherhood is going to be totally different.
True.
I think there is an underlying theme. There's a common theme that bond us all together.
Mm-hmm.
But I never even thought about being a dad. And then like once I became one, and it's like so many experiences and feelings and all these other things just like coalesce and come together, and you're just like, whew, this ride is not going to end for a while, and it's a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a very big fan of Muay Thai. I had our own business in that as well, which unfortunately didn't go as well as I expected. And I trained it, used to coach it, used to travel all over Europe with fighters and stuff like that. And everybody asked me, like, dude, you kids practicing Muay Thai yet? I'm like, you know what? They actually like karate. So I put them in karate because they like it. And it's actually kind of convenient because it's right at school. They're like, really? I'm like, dude, man, they got to, as you said, man, they got to find their own passion, find their own road. And I keep asking them, like, what do you want to do this year? And they keep repeating karate, definitely. So I'm like, you know what? That's what you want to do, then, enjoy it. And that's, as you said, that's where the bond comes from, is that they follow their passion and you just support them and run with it and be interested in it. So we talked about this real quick. Mark is asking, hey, Art, did you ever expect Life of Dad to be so big when you started? I mean, must have missed the beginning, Mark, but share a little bit, lighten us a little bit more on that. And then I want to go into, because you got 2 kids, so do I. I want to talk a little bit about that as well in a second.
Sure. Yeah, to answer his question, when I came aboard, my first article was called "Kids Are Like Velociraptors," right? Because they find the weakness in your defenses, right? And when I first wrote the article, I was kind of happy with it. I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. I like to be comical. It was a class clown back in the day in school and all that. But I never thought like how far it would go. And one of the things you mentioned too about keeping dads alive, and like some guys were thinking about ending their life. I think one of the biggest things, I'm getting goosebumps right now about it, is in certain Facebook groups that we've had under the Life of Dad umbrella, we've reached out a lot of great guys and dads that are part of our admin for Facebook. They reach out when they hear like these certain things that are going on, and someone might reach out and be like, I'm at the end of my rope, I don't know what's like I can do. I feel like there's just ending my life, and we all like pretty much jump on a good way and be this guy. And that for me is like the biggest, like, connecting dads and making sure that dads are there for their kids, I think is like the 2 biggest things drive me for Life of Dad. And I think because of the nature and how we approach our views on fatherhood, and how we take all different walks of fathers in our group, right? I think that just keeps on building and building and building. And I feel like too, it's like a word of mouth. It's like people enjoy fatherhood. We love talking about it. We love expressing the different parts of being a dad. And I think people will latch on to something that's genuine and true. And so we just it just kind of spiraled into this. It's like, did we ever thought like, yeah, we can't wait to build this huge thing? We just wanted to share our journey and bring other dads along too. And thankfully it just kind of it blossomed into that. Did we ever expect it to be that big? Maybe we thought about after a while, when we got to maybe like 100,000 followers on Facebook, like, let's see how big we can get this. Let's see more people. Let's see more, right? And then it just, like you said, like over 2 million, and you're like, all right, cool. Like people are digging what we're putting. So let's just keep that going. So personally, as we kept on getting bigger, it was always like, it's like in a video game, like, all right, how can I get a bigger, higher score? Can I get a bigger, higher score, right? After a while, when you actually put focus on it. But where we're at right now is great, and I just hope it continues to like grow in the sense of like, maybe not the numbers wise, but just keep on the idea, the sense of community in there for dads, not just who might feel like they don't have any more, they're at their end of the rope, or it's not just for that, but it's just for everybody, because I feel like sometimes guys want to feel like they are that rock, right? But then also too, they want to feel that in sense of the sense of being something. I think that's where we have the different branches of the Facebook groups. We have geek dads, we have like divorced dads, gay dads, all these different types of groups out there, where it's like, all right, I can find my group of dads that they'll have something similar to me, and then there might be bring something to the table that I hadn't even thought about yet about being a father, or certain ways or aspects of being a dad, or ways to listen to my kid that I haven't tried yet. And it might open up to having a better bond with your kid. So no, we didn't know how far, but we just hope it keeps on climbing for all the positive benefits of this community we started.
Exactly, man. That's awesome. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate the question. I love that when people start asking questions. It makes my work even more easy. So that's great.
No doubt.
Gary, share real quick. Earlier when we were talking about Halloween, I didn't know that. Halloween is huge in Ireland. This is where it started. Dude, I did not know that. So I really appreciate Gary sharing that. And we'll continue. So as I mentioned, you got 2 girls, I got 2 boys, right? Now, I had my first boy, and I wasn't the dad that I had no idea, right? But I wasn't even involved. Now I got 2. I really started getting involved. Now, after the first one, I kind of was like, right before the first one came, I was like, or the second one came, I was like, you know, I got this. I think I understand. Like, I know what to do. And then the second one came, and dude, everything that I did right with the first one, it just didn't work at all with the second one. I'm like, what's up with this? That's not, no, it's supposed to be, I got another one. Now it's, no, right? What's, you start laughing. So I think you know what I'm
talking about. I do totally agree, because especially you said you have 2 boys, I have 2 girls. So when we found out we're having another girl, I'm like, all right, everything's exact same. And for some reason, it never occurred to me that I have 2 older sisters, right? And the 3 of us, yeah, there's certain things we share in common and the way we act here and there, but for the most part, we're all our own different, you know, we're unique. We have our own personalities and all that. I don't know why that fact glazed over me when I became a dad of 2 kids. Because I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a girl, the same things. Nope. And in the beginning, you kind of realize, oh, this is a little different. Why is it a little different? But then you embrace those differences, and you're kind of glad that each one's got their own voice. Each one's got their own, like when I say talents, just like characteristics that, you know, as your family grows, I feel like, oh, sweet, nice.
So hi.
What up? What up, little guy?
What are you doing? Oh, you want to put your pajama on? Okay, come on. All right, go to mom. Good night, buddy. Close the door, please. All right. He's not.
That's fatherhood in a nutshell, right there, man. I love it. That's great. Love it.
I even stopped apologizing for it, Art. I mean, in the beginning, I said like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry," you know. But now I'm like, actually, it's crazy. It's become a fearless father, meaning I'm a father. So,
dude, yeah. I'd say embrace that, and that's great. Like, it just goes to show you, like, fatherhood's awesome, and it's never ends. Like, even when when I was on this trip, like, I kept on thinking about them and my wife, and I was like, man, it'd been great if my family was here too. Like, I'm enjoying like the Star Wars stuff, this Lion King and Animal Kingdom stuff, and I'm like, man, I see all these people with their families. I miss my family. So like, they're always in the back of your mind, even though if they're not presently, you know, with you at that point. So yeah, so I was just kind of going back to, you know, having the, you know, the 2 girls and the different personalities. I think that makes your family even better and stronger, because there's, in our case, for your case, 4 different views, 4 different ideas, 4 different people that are coming together to make this unit. And yeah, like, I'm glad they're not the same, because that would be, I think, kind of boring, right?
True. And I also think that them being different means they shine different mirrors at you. And your weaknesses, you know, you had the first one, so you're like, okay, I got these weaknesses, I got that, I can work on that. Now all of a sudden it's like, man, this guy just find out all my other weaknesses. That especially the little one, man, he's good at that. But it's great, because now it's like, all right, so now I know what to work on, right? So now I know what to improve on, and not just because that's a cool thing, right? You're a stay-at-home dad, so you work also like, okay, how can I bring as much value to others, right? How can I help all these other dads? So by me being able to improve as a dad, because he's showing me all this stuff that, you know, I need to improve on, right? It's like, wow, now I can come even better, even stronger as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneurial dad, and give more value to my clients, my followers, or whoever it is that you know, I involve. So you just mentioned, like, you were in Disneyland and walking around. You were by yourself. I'm sure also you go a lot with your kids and stuff, right? This is one of the big things, man, I want to talk to you about, because fathers work so hard, right? We work the 9 to 5, or well, in our case not, but you know, especially the most biggest group. They all work the 9 to 5 and they work hard, and then they have the weekend, and then they finally do something really fun, right? They go to the zoo or they go to Disneyland, and they don't have fun, right? You've probably seen it a lot. I see it a lot, man. We walk around and you see like dads screaming at their kids and yelling with their wives, and it's like, wow, you spend all that week looking forward to this day, right? And then what is that, and what advice would you have for these dads to make sure that they enjoy it to the fullest, and not let that bomb go off, right?
Great question. I think every parent's going to struggle with that question, right? And I think for the moment, you might have caught them on a non-Instagram / Facebook post moment, right? You caught them maybe when everybody was like, I want to go to this park. No, I want to eat now. I want this. I don't want this pizza. I want a hot dog. And so everything kind of boils up. And I think you have this expectation in like before you go on vacation, you're like, it's going to be this. I can't wait. They're going to love this, this, and that. No, it's going to go a totally different way. And I think you might see that, that person or that dad, maybe not their best moments, right? We're not all going to be like having a filter on the Instagram, post. I think the biggest thing, and I am, even with kids, I still need to work on my patience level and all that. I think it might sound cliche, but just enjoy every moment, like get lost in that moment. And it's easier said than done, but I think for anybody, just enjoy that moment and realize that in a few years, like maybe because everyone's got a phone or like your earbuds or something like that, have Cats in the Cradle on repeat or at the ready. So if like you start blowing up with your kids, just play that. Just play it, like have one earbud in and you're listening to it. You're like, all right, in a few years, they're going to be off to college and they don't want anything to do with me. So maybe because you got to just remember that fact that there's going to be times like, I thought we were going to do this and we're going to plan this. I want to do this. Why not? I plan, like my wife and I plan this. So yeah, just have that Cat in the Cradle moment. Maybe not the song, but just think about the lyrics and be like, all right. And after a while, it's like, all right, you want to do this? All right, but tomorrow we should do this because we kind of planned it that we were going to do it this way, right? I think the biggest thing, and it's again another easier said than done, but just communicate with your kids about like, all right, we should do this, and then maybe next hour we can do whatever you guys want. Child A, you pick this the next hour, and then 2 hours later, child B, you pick this, and we'll just do whatever you want. So you got to have that idea of that. Just because we're parents, it shouldn't just be like our way or the highway. Just see it from their perspective, and just remember when you were a kid. Do you remember like you wanted to go here, but no, we had to go here. We had to get like a group shot at this theme park, but like I don't want to do that. I want to ride that awesome ride that we keep on passing that we don't stop for. So I think about Cats in the Cradle. Go back to when you were 12 or 8 or 6 or whatever the case may be. But then also just communicate with your kids like, hey, if we do this, let's do this. I'm not saying we'll bribe them like, hey, I'll get you a dessert if you just shut up and go on this ride, but just like communicate and like negotiate with them, and they'll see like not only is that going to make it easier for you guys, but it's also going to give them a life lesson and be like negotiating, right? Because when you work in the business, when you work from home, I work with a bunch of guys at Life of Dad, and of course, your marriage is a partnership and a relationship. There's going to be give and take. Show your kids that there's going to be some give and there's going to be some take. They will be used to that and they'll understand that. And hopefully, there won't be that many meltdowns at the happiest place on earth.
Exactly. I love the part where you're in the line, right? And you're like, yes, it's our turn. And then it's, I gotta pee. I'm like, really now? I gotta.
Here's the thing. Here's a pro tip. So let's just say you're right there, right? You're getting in line. Let the person know, like the people that are riding the rides, because they want to make it enjoyable, right? So I just be like, hey, my child really has to go to pee. Do you mind if I just take my family, leave like 2 of my family members right here so you don't forget about us? I'll take my child to the bathroom, and then when we come back, you can just let us in. I think you're not holding up people. You're not going to have to go all the way back at the end of the line. Just use some common sense, and hopefully the people that's riding, like, that are running the ride will be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Go ahead. So that's my dad tip right there.
That's a cool tip, man. Yeah. We, besides that, so that happens a lot. We actually ruined our 3-year-old for a while. There was this one ride, and I don't know how they did it, but they said a meter, which, yeah, I hope all of my American friends know what that is.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Right? And you could go in, and he was like 1.2 meters, so he was exactly like the right height. And we went in it, and it was called like the Coyote ride. Dude, it had a drop that my stomach was here. And my little one was with my wife, and I just saw him go white. And from that moment, he just doesn't want to go in anything anymore. It's like, no. So, yeah, we kind of ruined him on that one.
But watch, just, gradually get him back into do some smaller rides, do some, and do something that he might want to do that's kind of right. Like, I don't know, like, depending on what you go to, but go to the ones that have like the trains that like move like a train. And you're just like taking it like it's a ride, not going to like drop or something, right? Like, I don't know. Like I'm just throwing out there for Walt Disney World. Like it's a small world in Epcot, right? In Epcot, we just go on this boat and you see the different places all around the world, and it's like have some cute music, and it's nothing like too terrifying. So go back and do those small rides, and then gradually get to the bigger ones.
yeah, exactly. I think it's going to take a couple of years, at least the way he is now, because he just sees the ride and he's like, no. And my older one is like, man, we're going in that. My oldest one, my 6-year-old, I love that too. He's now like, which ride's can I take by myself?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's like, no, I don't need you, Daddy. I can go by myself. But Daddy's smart. He's like, hey, there's one spot. Here you go. Here's my kid. And I just dump him in front of everybody else. He can go by himself. Just take him, which helps. Yeah. Which I think is a good lesson for them as well. And not everybody will agree, but I think that, you see opportunity, you take it. And if everybody else is sleeping, then, hey, time to wake up. Again, that's the way I look at it. Man, you guys must have been going through some stuff with A Life of Dad as well. And I'm talking about failures, mistakes, and stuff like that, right? Which we've learned, like that's where we grow the most. That's where we learn the most, right? So I'm always interested, man, what is your take? What is your view on what failure means to you?
It's great you mentioned that, because I was talking to my oldest in the middle school. One of her teachers has like the acronym for FAIL, like first attempt in learning. And I love that, right? And again, I remember from just being a comic geek in I think it was Batman Returns with Christian Bale and Michael Caine. So Michael Caine is Alfred, and he's like, why do we fall down, sir? To get back up, right? So I think in anything, there's going to be times where you second guess yourself as a dad, or just second guess yourself in life, no matter what the case may be. But I've learned more about getting C's and D's on my test than I did when I aced something, right? I think, and I've told my daughters that too. I said, we want you to get A's and B's, but if you keep on doing that status quo, you might not learn everything. I remember I took this one test in high school on biology, and I thought I was going to ace it. Like, I don't need to study. I'm good. Failed it. The next day I was looking at the thing, and I was like checking out all the parts of the heart. Nailed it the next time, because he let us do a makeup thing, for us to like, you're usually not like this. What happened? You got too cocky. You were too showboating. Like, I don't need to study. I'm good. And and you get some humble pie, but then you learn from that. It's like, all right, can't take things for granted. You think you might know something. And I was always like afraid to like ask my parents to quiz me, because I'm like, I don't want, because if I mess something up, they're going to go tell me to study for another 30 minutes. I don't want to do that. So, taking responsibility at that age, it's like, all right, do I want to play video games? Do I want to play with my friends? Or do I want to study? Which one do you think they're going to choose, right? But, just teach them, like, it's okay to fail. If you keep on doing it, well, then you have an issue. Then we got to talk a little bit for, like, even like whether you're a kid or you're an adult, if you keep on failing, like, what is Einstein saying? The key to insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results, right? So, got to change things up if they're not working the first time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I like the way that you flipped it also to your kids, because that's the one thing with my oldest one at the moment. He now goes to, we call it primaria. I don't know what you probably call it first grade. So now all of a sudden it's going really, really fast, and he's actually doing pretty good, but he's still in that zone where he gets so upset with himself when he makes a mistake. And that's what, for me, like you say, fail, first attempt in learning, that's great. And now I'm thinking, like, how the heck am I going to translate that in Spanish so he understands what I'm talking about? Because you're saying, like, God, we're having a hard time with the homework. man, for me, he's only in first grade. I'm already having a hard time because it's all in Spanish. Now I'm lucky they're bilingual school, so they do a lot of English stuff. So I'm taking all of that on. But yeah, man, it's it's definitely a fun challenge, right? And that's also for us, right?
It's like you're going back to school all over again because you have to help out. And you're like, wait, oh man, like you always wonder like why you had to do this. Like, am I ever going to use this in life? Yeah, when you have kids, you're going to have.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't think that way though. I did just now that you say it, it's like, man, that actually makes sense. But I was thinking that when they were saying it, like I keep telling you,
going to say that. Like a teacher's never going to say that. It's like, when are we going to learn this? Or when are we going to need this, teacher? Like, oh, when you have kids, and kids are going to be like, well, I'm not going to have kids.
Yeah,
learn this, right?
Good reason not to have kids. I don't have to learn this stuff. I keep saying, man, what you learn in school is absolutely not useful, except that hopefully you learn how to learn, and then everything else will come. I love the fact that in the States, because I had a lot of entrepreneurial dads already on the show, and they're actually homeschooling. That concept starts to become very attractive to me, right? Just because you go into a meeting, it takes them 2 hours to explain stuff, which you like, dude, you can send this to me in an email and I'm done. Why do you make me spend 2 hours here? And then your kids get home sometimes miserable because their teacher is just a nag. And I'm like, aren't they supposed to teach and bring joy to my kids? I mean, I'm teaching my kids to bring joy back to their teacher. So, you know what I mean? So I like that. Here in Spain, unfortunately, it's not possible. But in America, it's a pretty big deal. And I think that's a great option too for all the parents out there that are listening. So I appreciate that, man. I've written it down. First attempt in learning. I think that's great. So I'm definitely going to find out how I can translate that into Spanish and help my boy out with that. Lots of stuff, man. Yeah, that's what I want to ask for us entrepreneurial dads. It's great, right? What you guys are doing. I think that's one of the biggest things that you've grown where you are right now. Is you are really giving value. You are really helping dads with the problem they didn't find a solution to, which makes you grow, right? One of the things I was wondering as well for us entrepreneurial dads that are really wanting to make an impact, one of the things that's also important, we got to provide for our family, right? So how have you been able to monetizing Life of Dad? Was that something that you were thinking up from the beginning, or did that also evolve over time?
Yeah, it definitely evolved over time. That was something where we, the six of us, we talk about here and there. And then when we maybe did a brand campaign or we worked with a client, and it's like, oh, we can, profit off of this. We can, make some money doing this way. And then we kind of started up our own business model and we started working things out. And in any business, things will work. Some things won't. And you're like, all right, again, first attempt in learning, the failing method, right? So, there's ups and downs to any business. And I think that, Life of Dad, we've been kind of making sure that we've learned from, things that might not have worked. And like, all right, let's try a new way. Let's look at fatherhood in a different viewpoint, looking at a sales campaign or working with companies in a different way. And we've done that. I think we kind of, see which way the market's going, which way, like things are being presented, or, whether it's social media based, whether it's an article based, whatever the case may be. You just kind of go with the trends, and you also try and look for the trends, so you can be a trendsetter and making sure that you're like, all right, I want to be part of this. I like I like their message. I like the way that they're branching out, and I love the way that they're promoting that message. All right, how can we work with them? So we do, we set up kind of like an agency website as well, just so people can check our past histories with campaigns we've done, of course the numbers on different platforms, and just experience that we've had in the past few, actually 8 or 9 years now, right? So it's just kind of reinventing ourselves here and there when we need to be, retooling at certain parts that we might have struggled in, and then just learn from our mistakes, and talking to each other and saying like, all right, let's try this method, or let's try something along those lines. So it's just kind of, and also too, knowing your audience. You got to know what you're doing, and also be passionate about what your quote unquote selling, or whatever, or your message. As long as you're like, one of the biggest things I love about Live Dad is like, it's the journey of fatherhood, but it's also like trying to better us as dads, so that we are having our we're being better dads so our kids can be better people in the world. And would have a better positive impact through our kids' actions from what we're teaching them, right? So my daughters see me, being an entrepreneurial dad. Me and one of the co-hosts for the Life of Dad show, John Finkel, who we brought in. He's not like a co-founder, but he's worked for us here and there. We wrote the Life of Dad book through my the Life of Dad show podcast, right? All the different guests that we've had, and so they see me. Write a book through Simon and Schuster and Adams Media, and they're like, "Wow, this is great, Dad!" And they tell their friends like, "Oh, my dad's an author now too." So it's like, you keep on trying to practice what you preach. Like, if it's like, you might tell my daughters, like, do what you have a passion for, right? I had no idea that my passion was going to be centered around fatherhood, but it has been. And I'm lucky that, I'm working for Life of Dad, part of this group, and just bringing that message out there. So I think just have a passion for what you have, because everyone would come up to me and like, should I start a podcast? What should I do for this podcast? What should it be about? Should it be a certain length? I'm like, sure, if you want to do a podcast because everybody's is in that realm right now, do it. But if you're just doing it to do it, then don't start a podcast. Find, like, if you're more of a a vlogger, like a video, if your medium is video, do that. And like what you do here, you interview a bunch of dads, like that's your niche too. Like for me, like I love talking to dads on my podcast, where it's like, not only am I hopefully helping our listeners out, but I'm helping myself out by learning. Like I said before, like, this dad does this. Never really thought about thinking about fatherhood that way. I'm putting that into my mental brain and making sure that next time I run into this issue, I can approach it like, Dad A did or Dad B. And it's like, or, combine both methods and see where that leads me. So, I just think you always got to know your audience, know what things are changing in the market area, and kind of go from there.
That's great advice. And yeah, man, that's actually the one thing you said, like, find what you're good at, whether that's podcasting or blogging or vlogging, and do that. However, I think there's a key there that you mentioned as well, maybe not as clear to everybody, but interviewing people is like, it's amazing because one, you're getting great content, and two, you're learning yourself tons of stuff that you can apply, right? I actually, now that I've done like 100+ live interviews, I kind of see it as cheating because I'm getting everything. I'm getting good at everything, right? From both, from everywhere. Like, I advise it right now to everybody. I said, dude, man, just get your show. Doesn't matter if it's a blog or vlog or a podcast, but start interviewing people. If it's written, it's written. It doesn't matter. Just do it, because the insane value that you give and that you get yourself, and the relationships that you build, right? I mean, look how we got here, right? We got through somebody else that puts us in contact because he's like, man, you both cool guys. You both got a passion and a mission, and I just want to bring you guys together. That alone is just gold, right? You can't buy that stuff anywhere. So highly recommend that. You mentioned the book, and I love that, man. Where can people get that book? Because it's something important for me.
Yeah, you can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, wherever like books are sold. But holidays are coming up, perfect for that time as well. But it's not like a chapter 1 through 30 book, like I have to read from start to finish. You can read it. It's a nice read. It's a good read. But you can just flip through and like, all right, I want to read this right now. I read, the interview that we did with Mark Hamill, talking about the best thing for him is having a relationship with his kids now that they're older, they're out of the house, they still want to chat with him. And then like have Bill Engvall in there, where it's like, listen to your kids. And Bill Engvall is like one of the biggest, when I interviewed him, that advice still sticks with me, because we might think a 12-year-old having issues at school, being like, oh, so-and-so is mad at me and we're fighting and all that. And in your mind, like, it's no big deal. You're going to get over it, or you might not be friends with that person for, in the next few years anyway. So it doesn't matter. But you got to put like their mindset in your, in your brain, and being like, this is what matters to them. Don't just be like, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Rub some dirt on it. You should be okay. You have to listen to them. And part of that is understanding where they're coming from. So the book is just, again, I know since I wrote it, I'm like, oh, you should get the book. But like, it's definitely a nice like refresher. It's almost like chicken soup for the soul. It's like chicken soup for fatherhood, man. There's a lot of great anecdotes and stories in there, and great pieces of advice, which, you're trying to give to your audience. I'm trying to give to my audience. So it's just it's a nice companion to have. You know, right before you go to bed, read it. Make you sleepy, so that might help, I guess. I don't know. It's a really cool book. We've gotten good review, like, you know, good feedback from it, and good reviews on like on Amazon and all that stuff. So like I was very happy that John and I wrote this together, and you know, just kind of putting all the stuff that the Life of Dad show, like the great advice we learned from our guests on Life of Dad show, is now in book form.
That's awesome, man. That's absolutely awesome. So whatever your reason is, it's great to get that book. And I would say I highly recommend it. I didn't even know he'd written a book, so I try to get my hands on it as soon as possible, and then I'll recommend it next time in my own solo live. Anyway, man, we've come to the end of the show already. I know, and I got tons more questions, but that's okay. And for those out there that also have tons of questions, for people that want to get in contact with you, now we know, and I'm going to show it again right there in the comment section. You can click on this and check out the website Life of Dad. What are other ways of getting in contact with you, asking you questions, getting to know more about Life of Dad?
Yeah, you can reach me via my Life of Dad email at art@lifeofdad.com. If you have any questions, or if you want to, you know, talk a little bit about fatherhood, feel free. Or you can follow me on Twitter, Art Eddy, the number 3, which you should get on Twitter soon, my friend. And then
True.
we were talking about that too earlier today. But yeah, just you know, if you go to Life of Dad or Art Eddy 3 on Twitter, you can reach out, and we can meet up that way. So again, thanks so much for having me on the show, man. Love what you're doing, and I'm glad to see more of these things happen, where it's like the focus is on fatherhood, because not only do we see something from it, but I think our kids, like, as you keep on doing this, man, like your kids and be like, oh, my dad's working on fatherhood, and like trying to, like, you know, get, like, learn and teach more people and just educate more people about fatherhood and all this stuff. So for my kids, I know it makes a difference, and they're paying attention. So
awesome, man.
Great work, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Everybody that's been watching this right now live, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the questions, Mark and Gary. Really appreciate that. Everybody else is watching the replay on either YouTube or on the podcast, and whatever it is, the links are in the description, so you can check them out right now. Have an amazing day. Art, thank you again for coming out, man. Really enjoyed myself, and see you all next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
See you.